Hello and welcome to Buildon Ideas Institute of Designing, and this is Six and Sunny. In this tutorial I am going to discuss about how to create a traditional Kerala style resort in Blender 2.8 using various modeling, texturing, lighting and rendering techniques in Blender 2.8. Blender 2.8 is a free and open source software which can be used commercially, and this can be used very much in architectural visualization. So let's go into this tutorial in detail. So when we look at this tutorial, I'm just creating this this file in Blender 2.8. You can see the details of this resort. So it's having all the traditional features like sopanam. You have the charupady, you have those traditional type of pillars of a shape, and then you have the gables and the traditional terracotta tiles on top. You have the laterite stone wall finish. Also you have some profiles on the plinth area. So basically this is a traditional feel resort. The visual you can see here is a model which I've created in Blender 2.8. This is the layout in which I've created this. This is the viewport of Blender 2.8. Now coming to the output, you can see this is the output which I've created using the Blender 2.8. So this is having a really cool feel, and you have all the realistic feel to this. So I'll be more focusing on modeling this resort and using various techniques to create the different roof structure and the pillars, the charupady, the profiles and all these stuff. I'll just be focusing on mainly the basic texturing, not into detailed texturing, but basic texturing of this resort. I'll be concentrating on the modeling part of this, and then the basic lighting as well. So this will be more focused on the basics of it to get more realistic output with basic minimum features in Blender 2.8. So let's have a look at how to create this feel from Blender 2.8. So when coming to the plan of this, if you see the plan of the resort, you can see that the floor area is coming to around 523 square feet. The sit out area is around 300 by 300, that is 10 feet by 10 feet. You have the sitting area, then you have a bedroom as well as a wash area and a toilet attached to that. So basically this is the plan, and when you see the output, you can make out very well that this is having a very good realistic output that can be convincing the client to a great extent. So Blender 2.8 can be used for architectural visualization in a very good extent. Now I've just created some basic texturing and lighting to this. If you go further, you can have some rain puddles, you can have some fog effect, you can have many other special effects in Blender 2.8 to create much realistic output from Blender to create architectural visualization. So coming to details of this tutorial, let's start with the modeling of this resort in Blender 2.8. So coming to the plan, I've created this plan in NanoCAD, which is a free software, and before importing this plan into Blender, we have to make sure that the units set in NanoCAD and Blender is the same. So whichever CAD software you're using, you have to make sure that the units is set in Blender as well as the CAD software as the same. So we'll just check the units. So I've set the units to centimeters. Now coming to Blender, if you see, I've come to the scenes, and then if you see, I've set the unit system as metric and the length as centimeters. So this is in centimeters basically. Now I'll just import this plan into Blender. So while importing, we have to make sure that we are importing in centimeters. So to do that, we have to convert this into centimeters. Currently it is showing as meters. Blender by default it is in meters, so we'll just convert this into 0.01 to make it centimeters, and then we'll just import from the place where I have saved the file. So I'm just going and I'm just importing this plan. So I've imported the plan. I'm just removing all the default items from this. So you can see the plan here. Now I'll just do one thing. When you see the plan here, there are certain things available like the room sizes and all mentioned in the plan, but when you imported it, it's not been visible. So it is still there inside this, so I'll just avoid all those things from this. So what I'll do is like I'll just select these things and then click on Ctrl J to make it as one thing. I'll select all these and then Ctrl I to select all the other things which are available inside, and I'll just click on delete. So I just have what is required. Now I have to make sure one more thing. You can see that the origin point of this is set here. So I'll just set the origin point to center of this object, set the origin to the geometry, so it has come to the center of that. Now what you do is like you just center this plan into the center of the viewport. In order to do that, click on N to create to bring this properties panel, and come to the items location and then give 0 for X, Y and in the C. So now you have it in the center. Just save the file. I'm saving it as in those tutorial file. I'm just going into that and I'm saving it as Kerala Resort. So this is the resort file right now. So keep on saving in between also, otherwise if you go further and if you have some errors in Blender, that is going to lose your file. So save it occasionally. Now I have to create the wall for this and then proceed further in the tutorial. So let's go and create the wall for this. In order to do that, I'm just adding a single vertex into this. Add a single vertex. Now in vertex mode, we have to make sure that the snapping is on. I'm just clicking on the snap button, and then also I'm going to make it as vertex. Now in this option, if you do, we can move this by clicking on G and grab it and then snap it to a point where we require that, and then click on E to extrude it and start extruding until you have it is whole round. So I've finished the one round, and you can make sure that it is getting merged to the first vertex. The last vertex is getting automatically merged to the last the first vertex. How does it happen? If you see the context menu, you have this auto merge option ticked. This is in the context menu, as you see. This auto merge is ticked so that this gets auto merged. Now what you have to do is like click on the edge option by clicking on 2, and then select A to select all the edges, and then click on E to extrude it in Z direction, and then I am just giving 300. So we have the wall height ready, and then we have to have the thickness for this. So in order to have the thickness, what we do is like we just go to the modify panel and then have solidify as the modifier, and then give 20 centimeters. Now when I get 20 centimeters, it is going outside. So what we actually have to have is like we have to make it inside. In order to do that, we are just giving a minus symbol in front of this 20 centimeters. So it is coming inside. Still you can see that it is not as per the thickness which we require. That is because now it is calculating the corner as 20 centimeters. So in order to have this thickness as 20 centimeters, we have to click on even thickness. When you click on that, we have exactly the same 20 centimeters thickness for the wall. Just click on save. Now I'm just going into the object mode from the edit mode. If you try to apply this solidifier or any modifier in edit mode, it is not going to get affected. If you click on apply, you get an error saying that cannot be applied in edit mode. So go to object mode and then click on apply. It gets applied. So now what you have to do is like I'm just going to create the windows for this. So I'll just select this and click on H to hide it. Now I'm just having some plane in order to have this window positions ready. So G, Y, Shift D to create a copy of that, and then moving it, G, Z, Shift D again, move it further in X direction, align it, Shift D, and this time I need to adjust it to fit the window. So I'm just selecting this edge and grabbing it, and then in object mode I'm just going to move it in Y direction slightly. Now I have to have this door as well as this ventilator out here. In order to do that, I'm just selecting this, Shift D, and then moving it, adjust the size of it, and go into object mode and move it further. same way I'm doing this ventilator also. G and then move it to the position. So now you have all the windows and ventilator doors, everything in place. Now what you have to do is like you have to extrude these and position it to have the window positions. I'm going to have full length windows and the doors, and the ventilator will be adjusted as per the height required. So I'm just selecting all the windows to 210 height. So in order to do that, before extruding, I'm just moving it slightly down in order to avoid any errors in Boolean. So G in Z direction minus 5 centimeters. So it has come down slightly. Now I'm going into edit mode and then clicking on A to select everything. Extrude it to 215 centimeters. So 210 is the lintel height. I have minus 5 here, so total 215. Now I'll just select this as well and then go to the edit mode, select this face and then extrude by 60 centimeters. And then I'm moving it further to the position by giving 150. So the total is 210. So now you have everything in one height. I'm selecting all these things and then clicking on Ctrl J to make it one object. I'm unhiding the wall, and then what I'm going to do is like select this and add a modifier called Boolean. So click on the Boolean and then select this object. So it has already become Boolean. Now I'm going to apply this and then delete this. So you have all the windows and door positions ready right now. Now the next thing which I have to do is like I have to create this sit out area. I'll have the base also and then the roof as the structure of this. So in order to do the beam structure for this, I'm just going into add mesh and then single vertex once again, and I'm just grabbing it to the position, going into the vertex mode, start extruding and then position it in the proper positions. Now just go into 2 and then select all the edges, extrude it by in the C direction 90 centimeters, and then go to the modifiers. I'm going to add Solidify once again and then I'm giving minus 20. And then I'm just ticking even thickness to have all the thickness. You can see that if I just untick this, it is not having all thicknesses the same. So it is towards the end, it is having some other thickness. So in order to have even thickness, I'm just giving even thickness. Now you have the thickness in the right way. Now just go to the object mode, select this and then GZ210. It takes to the lintel level and then you have it above that. So now that is positioned. Now we'll have the base for this, so I'll just select this and then I'll just hide those. Create the base by clicking on add single vertex and then in vertex mode I'm just moving it once again to this position. Extrude it. And then you can see that if I click on the edit mode and then take this face and then give F, this has come. But while extruding, if I click on E and then I give an extrude value of minus 45, that is going down. If I give minus 45, it is going up. So there is some mistake for this. What would be that reason? So I'll just find it out. So if I click on the overlays and then come to face orientation, you can see that it is completely red, which means that the normal is in the opposite direction. So we have to make this normal proper. So what you do is like just click on undo and then I'm giving F. Now coming to this, I'm just going to take this face and then shift N so that you get this recalculate normals and then click include. Now you can see that the whole thing has become blue, which means blue means it is the normal position is correct, normal orientation is correct. Now if you just select this and then go to the object mode, select this face and then give extrude. If we give minus 45, it goes down. By selecting all the faces, shift N and then include inside. So now you have the whole thing in blue color. So you just save it and I'll just create this base as well. In order to do that, just go to add, I'm just in this time I'm just going to add a plane and then move it to the position. I'm just switching off the face orientation now. Just go to the face and then grab it to the position. go to the edit mode and then the edge and then position it, and then go to the face and then give -45. So now the base is ready. Save it, unhide everything and just see how it is. Okay, so the structure is ready now. Now we have to have the pillars here and then the roof structure. So in order to do that, I'll first do the roof. So when doing the roof, I follow one method using the rectangles, but there may be other methods. If you know an easy method, kindly comment below and let me know, is there an easy method to create this roof structure. So in order to do this, I'm just creating a rectangle here. So I'm adding a rectangle, a plane here, and then I'm just moving it to this position. Going into edit tab in the edges mode, I'm just positioning it all in the right positions. And then I'm just doing an overhang. Select this and G in Y -60 centimeters overhang on this side. Here G, Y 60 centimeters on this side and on the other two sides as well. Select this and G in X and 60 centimeters. So you have all the overhangs as 60 centimeters. Now what to do is just go to the face mode and select and then give any height. This doesn't matter because we are giving an angle of around 45 centimeters, 45 degree. So I'm going to give an angle of this roof as 45 degree. So I'll just show you how to do that. This is the method I follow. There may be other methods also. So I'm going to add a box, another box. So I'm going to object mode, add cube now, and then I'm positioning it in this place. Now what I do is I'll just adjust the size of this as say 10 centimeters and 10 centimeter height. So you have it. Now I want this origin to be in this position. In order to do that, I'm just going here and then shift right click to bring the 3D cursor below this, and then right click and then the set origin to the 3D cursor. You have the 3D cursor in this position, I mean the origin point at this position. Now I have to rotate this to get the 45 degree angle. So rotate in X direction. So you have this direction and then 45 degree. So this is the angle I'm going to make this roof. Select this. Now I have to merge these vertices. So I'm just selecting the vertex mode and then select these two vertices and then right click and then merge vertex by at center. Here also you select these vertices, right click and then merge vertices at center. Have these vertices joined together. Now coming to the top, go into the X-ray mode, you can see that these two, you just select this and then scale in X direction. You have to make sure that, now I'm not aligned it, we have to make sure that this is going in this diagonal snapping. So just select this and try to snap or orient in this direction so that it goes diagonally. Why I'm doing is this if we have this diagonal correct and if you have all the overhangs in the equal distance, that means the angle is the same. So now you have all the sides the same angle. Now you have to create, you just move this vertices into position of this angle. So in order to do that, I'm just going into the X direction and then I'm just grabbing it in Z direction and positioning it just right in this angle. G, Z, and then correctly align it as parallel to that. You can see it's almost parallel. Now this roof is ready. Now I have to create this part and this part as well. So I'm just going out of this X-ray mode. I'm just selecting this and hiding it for the time being. Now I'll create this roof as well. For that I'll just have another plane and then I'll just grab it to the position, edit it in the edge mode, take it to the positions. I'm just moving it further away because I need a rectangular shape. Actually this is 10 by 10, so it is a square. So instead of that, I'm going to make it as rectangle for the time being, and I am giving the overhang. So G in Z x direction, G in again in x minus direction. Here also I'll do GY in minus direction, 60 centimeters overhang, and then go to the face and then just extrude in whichever height you want. That doesn't matter now. Now select this and then grab it to this position, rotate it in Z by minus 90. So now you have this in position. Select this and then go to the vertex and then select these two vertices and then right click and then give merge at center. Here also do the same, right click and then give merge at center. So you have this done. Now you have to go to the top, and then what to do is like just select this vertex and then click on the X-ray mode to make sure that you see the thing, and then G in Y direction. I'm grabbing this instead of scaling because I'm doing it on one side. So if you click on this, you can see it properly. I've move it in Y to properly align it. Okay, so you have that roof as well. Now to adjust the angle, select this and go to Y direction and grab it in Z to make sure that it is in proper alignment. Okay, it is aligned now. So that is also over. I'll just go out of this mode. Fine. Now I'll have this one as well. You can see some projections out because we have created in that way. So what I'll do is like I'll select this and then select all the vertices and then grab it in Y direction and position it to wherever required. So in this case I'll just move and snap it in this point because this span and this span is same. We have both 360 centimeters, and then if you see the X-ray mode, you can see that these two vertices are still there. So select those two, G in Y, and then snap it. Same thing you do for this as well. So in this case we don't have any reference point, is just this intersection. So just G, Y, and then slightly move and keep it just to that point. We don't have any stab point out there, and select these two vertices and then G in Y direction and snap it to this edge. So now you have the roof ready. So this is the roof structure. Now what to do is like just select these roofs and then go to say Y or maybe X. You can see it. Okay, I'll have this. Go to the X-ray mode. Just grab it down just to make sure that it is just touching the wall. You can see that it is just touching the wall but not completely. Now you have the roof in the right position. So this is a Kerala style resort roof ready now. I'll just give the gable ends now. So in order to give the gable ends, what I do is like I select this roof and then I just select these two edges. If you want to give a loop cut here, it's not possible because if I see Ctrl R, you have only this side and this side. We don't get it here because I've merged the vertices here and it's a triangle. Only in chords we have the loop cut ready. So what I'm doing is I'm selecting these two edges and then I'm just right clicking and then subdivide. So you have the gable division here. Same thing you do for this as well. Just select these two edges, right click and subdivide. You get this. Here also you do the same thing, subdivide. You get this point. This roof as well, just select these two edges and then right click and then give subdivide. So you have all the roofs ready with the subdivision for the gables. Now what you do is like I'll just move this position of coming to the vertex and then moving this to this position. So I'll just grab it in Y direction and then snap it here. I need slightly slanting to this position, so I'll move 30 centimeter from here to this direction. So I'll select this vertex, G in Y direction and then 30 centimeters. So you get a slanting position for this. Similar way, I'm just going into this as well and then selecting this G in Y direction. I'm snapping it to this so you have a straight thing, and then I just select this vertex G in Y and minus 30. So you have this angle ready, you can see. Now coming to this, select this, grab it in X direction, snap it, and then G in X and 30. So you have it, and then here also select that and then grab in X direction, snap it here, select this once again, G in X and minus 30. So you have the roof structure ready. Now I have to give the details for this. In order to do that, what I'm going to do is like I'll just select one roof and then coming to the face mode, selecting this and deleting this edge, this face. So you have a hole here, I'm selecting this face as well, deleting it, this face as well and deleting it. So now you have the basic structure ready. Select this face, delete that face, select this face, delete that face. Come here, select this face and delete that face as well. Now this is ready. This roof also, come here, delete this face. You have a bottom face, delete that face also. You have one more face here, delete that face as well. So the structure is ready. I'll give the thickness for this by going into Solidify, and then I'll give a thickness of around 10 centimeters. You can see there is a thickness now. This as well, Solidify, 10 centimeters. This also Solidify and then 10 centimeters. Okay, so the thickness is ready now. What you do next is like you can see that there is a roof which is going inside here as well as here. So in order to avoid that, we have to remove this portion from this roof. So to do that, just select this everything and then click on apply to apply the Solidify modifier. We have applied for everyone, and then what you do is like just select this roof, click on Shift D to make a copy of that, and G, Y, and slightly move it backwards and slightly move it downwards just to make sure that it gives a break. A similar thing is done on this roof as well. Shift D and in Y direction slightly move it backwards, and then just slightly to make sure that it is there, and then just move it down to have the cut. Just move it in Y direction slightly just to make sure that it is inside. Okay, and then what to do next is like select these two, this one as well as this one, and click on Ctrl J to join those two. Now to select this roof and add a modifier called Boolean, and now just select this roof just like that. Now you have the Boolean ready. Click on apply and just remove this. So this portion is separated from this. Now select this and then go to the edit mode, select the face, select this face, Ctrl L, you have this total separation, delete faces. Here also just come here, select this face, Ctrl L, and then delete faces. So now that is removed. Okay, now slightly adjust these vertices by going into the vertex mode and then into the X-ray mode. Select these vertices as well as these vertices and grab it slowly in Y direction just to make sure that it is joined together. Just switch off the X-ray mode. Okay, now it's almost done. Just select these two, grab it in X direction slightly. Okay, now it's ready. So now you can see that the roof structure is ready. We have to give the gable detailing as well as the pillar now for the structure to be ready. we have some charupady on both sides as well as a sopanam here and the steps. So we'll do all those detail now. So I'll do the charupady first and then do the pillars, because the pillars will stand on top of the charupady. What I do is like I'll just add a single vertex here, add single vertex, and then I'll just grab it to this position, extrude to this position, extrude again, extrude. Okay, and then I'm just going to select this this edge, subdivide it by 2. Now you have 3 segments here, 1, 2 and 3. Select this G in X direction. I'll just move it by 30 centimeters to that side, and here also G X and minus 30 centimeters to this side. Okay, I'm just deleting this edge. By selecting this edge, delete edge. Now I'm just selecting all the edges and extruding it by Z direction 45 centimeters, and then I'm going to give a thickness for this. So in order to give the thickness, I'm going into Solidify and I'm giving 20 centimeters thickness, so minus 20, and then even thickness. You have this ready. Now there should be a slab on top of this. So in order to do that, I'm just selecting this edge once again. First of all, I'm just applying it in object mode, and then I'm just once again selecting this 2 edges and these 2 edges once again, and then I'm going Shift D and then Escape and then P to separate the whole, these from the other, and then I'm just giving an extrude of I'm going into edit mode, edge mode A, and then extrude by say Z direction 3 centimeters just to have the thickness, and then giving a Solidify modifier once again. This time I'm giving it as 30 centimeters even thickness. So you have the seat ready. So I'll make it as 40 just to have the seat in a proper way. Okay, now you have the thickness ready. So I'll just give first to apply the modifier, and then I'm just going into this and then selecting this, slightly grab it just to make it as 10 centimeters. I'm giving 7 now. You have the thickness. Now I'll just give an extrude once again 3 centimeters. This is the slab. This is the slab, and this one is the granite topping which you have on top of that. So select all these faces, and okay, I've selected all these faces now, and then I'm giving the extrude along normals just 3 centimeters, minus 3, and offset even. So now you have the charupady thickness and everything ready. Now what to do is like I'll just give the char for this. So there are many ways of doing all these things. I'm just using one of the methods. So I'll give the char for this now. So I can see that the thinna is ready, and this is called thinna in Malayalam out here. Now we have the char for this. In order to do that, I'll have a shape structure ready. So to do that, I'll just come here, come to the front. Before that, what I'll do is like I'll just select this and hide the rest of the things. So just give Shift H to hide other things. Come to the XY direction, and I have to create a structure here, the shape of that. So I'll just add a single vertex now. Single vertex, add single vertex. I'm just grabbing it here, and then I'm creating a shape for this. So extrude, extrude, extrude again to just close the thing, and give FA and then F. You have the structure. Now what I'll do is like I'll just select all these faces, vertices, and I want a curved shape, so I'm right clicking and then I'm giving bevel vertices just to have a shape for that, and adjust the vertices in the way you want it. One more time I'm going to select all these vertices and do one more bevel vertices, and then I'm just smoothing it down. Okay, this is basically the shape of that, and then I'm just selecting this and then extruding it by going into 3 and then extrude by around 3 centimeters. So this is basically the shape of the charupady. And Alt Edge, Shift Alt Edge. So I have selected both the edges. I'm just giving a bevel edges, and I'll have a slight beveling here with 2 segments. Okay, now what you do is like we'll make copy of this. In order to do that, just select this and Shift Alt D, and then move it in a Y direction to a point like this, and then give Shift R to repeat it until you have something, and then rotate in Z by 45, minus 45. Just move it in Y once again just to position it. Now I have to have this direction, so I'll just put a copy of this. Shift D once again, sorry, Alt D. I'm just moving it in X direction, and then rotate in Z minus 45, so that becomes a 90 centimeters, and then I'm just having an Alt D, and then in X direction I'm moving it further. I'll just have 3 of this. Shift R. Okay, so you have the charupady sides, placing a box here, a cube here, and making its size to be around 5 centimeters, 5 centimeters, and 5 centimeters, just to have it ready. And I'm grabbing it to this position. We have it here, and then position it. I'll just make this as 2 centimeters, and then this to be around 300. Sorry, not this. This one 300. So it just goes and GY. Slightly move. Just going into edit mode, vertex mode, X-ray mode. Select these G and Y, hitting it to the wall. This side is ready. Select the face and then select this. Extrude by 3 centimeters, 2 centimeters. And then select this face. Extrude. So now you have this. Okay, and you have to duplicate this members by clicking on Shift D, and then I'm just moving it in Z direction slightly above, just like that. I'll just give slightly more thickness for this so that you can reduce the numbers. Select this and then come to the vertex mode. Select all these vertices and grab it in Z direction. Okay, now this is ready. These 2 members are ready right now. So I'll just take a copy of this and mirror it for this side as well. So I'll just select these 2 and then I'm just clicking on Alt D create a copy for that, an instance copy, and then I'm just moving it in X direction, and then Control M and enter to get this in X direction mirror. Now I'll just grab it, and in X direction I'm just moving it just to make sure that it is stretching. Okay, so that the two sides charupady is ready now. Now what is required is, like, just click a save. I have to create the pillars for this. So I'm creating a particular kind of a shape, that is a traditional shape for the pillar. So for that I'm just selecting these two and then hiding everything else just to have the size of it, and then I'm just creating the pillar. So in order to have the pillar, I'm just adding a single vertex. I'm just grabbing it to the position, just the edge for the time being, and then I'm going to create the shape. So in order to create the shape, I'm just clicking on extrude, and then one more extrude in X direction, extrude in Z direction, extrude in X direction, slightly, extrude once again in Z direction, extrude just like that, Z direction once again, extrude just to create a shape. I'm just having a shape here. This is going to be a basic shape for that. And then I'm going to extrude it further. Okay, this is basically the shape of the pillar. Now what I'll do is, like, I'll just select this and then give a modifier called screw. So what happened is I've just set the origin by mistake. I have to make sure that the origin of this is at the center. Set origin to center of the geometry. So now the origin is here. I'm again adding the modifier. The modifier is screw modifier, and you have it in this shape. And then you can see that the origin has to be slightly moved. So go to the edit mode and then select the object, the whole vertices, and then slightly grab it in X direction, just like that. Okay, select these. It's slightly fat, so slightly adjust the shape so that it remains in the direction which we want. Fine. Now this is the shape of the pillar, and then I'm just giving a shade smooth for that so that it looks neat. Now I'll just grab it, and in Z direction I'll just move it and keep it. You have the pillar ready, first pillar is ready, so just move it in Y as well, and then keep it in proper place. I'll have one more pillar next to that, so I'll just have Alt D and in Z direction I'll just have one pillar here. So you have two pillars. Now Alt D again, X, and then I'll just move it here. Okay, now Alt H to see the situation. Okay, it looks nice. Now you have the pillars ready. Some vertical pieces out here just to have the shape. So just select this, and then in vertex mode just go to the X-ray mode and select these, and then click on G, Z, and then I'm just taking it as 30 centimeters above this. Why I did this is, like, I have to have some elements out here, vertical elements. just to have a better feel. So I'm just selecting these, I'm just applying the Solidify. Just select these faces, and then I'll have an extrude here by 3 centimeters. Select these faces, outer faces, and then I'll just slightly extrude this as well. An extrude outside just by 3 centimeters, minus 3, and then this is the shape of it. Now I'll have a member here. In order to do that, I'll just make a box structure on these top of these two. So I'll just add the cursor here, and then add a cube of say 20 centimeters, and then grab it down on top of this pillar. Now what I do is, like, in order to have some design on this, I'll just select all these faces by going into X-ray mode, and then select all the faces, and then click on I to have an insert, just like this. Why it is coming like individual faces is that I've ticked individual here. So now we have an individual detailing, and then I'm going to extrude along normals, and then just slightly inside. Okay, so this is basically the structure of the top box. So that's ready. Now I'll have some vertical designs below this. So in order to have that, I'm just adding the 3D cursor here, and then I'm just adding a cube out there by 5 centimeters, and then I'm just clicking on the create button. We have it here. Slightly move it in X direction, and then I'm just going to extrude this face till here. Switch on the X-ray mode to see it, and then I'm extruding it by 5 centimeters and extrude it just to snap it. So that's ready. Now we'll have the verticals in between. So to have the verticals, I'm again using the same method by right clicking and having the 3D cursor there. I'm just adding a cube, and then this time it's 5 centimeters. I'm just making it to 3, and then this will be like 30 centimeters to have the dimension, and then I'm just moving it to this position G, Z, and then I'm just moving it into position to have the position ready. Now I'll click Alt D and then move it in Y direction, move it, and then click on Shift R to repeat it. So that is ready. Now we need to have a base profile which will look stone finish. So I'll give a base profile, plinth profile for this. So in order to do that, I'm just creating a profile. In order to have that, I'm just having a box, a cube by 45 centimeters. I'm just moving it to this position. Okay, now I'm just hiding everything else. Shift H to hide everything else. I'm just taking it onto the top, and then I'm creating a profile in top, and then I'm adding a single vertex. I'm going into this mode, grabbing the single vertex to this position. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, like, I'll just extrude slightly in X direction, just to have the thickness of that, and then I'm going to have a curve just like that, and then I'm just going further in Z direction. I'm just moving this to this, slightly to this direction. So this is a profile which I've created now. I'll just smoothen it out by going into selecting all these vertices, and then I'm just giving a bevel profile slightly. I don't want so many vertices, so I'm just reducing the numbers. Okay, so this is the profile for that. Just selecting this extrude in X direction once again, just to have the profile closed, and then I'm just converting this into convert this to curves. So this is a curve now. I'm just setting the origin of the to the geometry. So this is the profile basically. Now I'll remove this. I'm clicking Shift Alt H to unhide everything else. I need to have a profile now. So in order to do that, I'm just having this as well as the plan, and then Shift H to have just that. I'll have a profile. In order to do that, I'm just adding a profile, single vertex now, single vertex, and then move it into the position, extrude it. I'll just object convert to curve. Now you have two curves here. What you do next is like just set origin to geometry again. Now this will be the path and this will be the profile to have the plinth. So I'll just select this and then come to the curves, and then in the geometry I'm just going into the bevel and then picking this profile. You have the profile but in ulta direction. You can see that if I click on, so this is the profile but as it is inside. That is because we need this profile to be in this direction. So I'm just selecting that, rotate, and then in Y direction 180. So now I have the profile in the opposite way. And then what I do is like I'll just go to the object and apply all the transforms. Okay, now you can see that I have created the profile in the right way. Now click on Alt H, so you have the profile ready. If you want to move it further outside, just select this and move the origin. Select everything, G in X direction, outside, just like that. So now you have the plinth in the right way. So this is the plinth for this. Now I'll be moving these two points just in X and positioning it GX, and then position it here as well. So you have the plinth ready. Now there are something more to be done. We need to have a sopanam here. So to have the sopanam, I'm just creating a shape here. First I'll just block these two sides with a box. I'll just add a cube here. So this should be the size of this. Now what I do is like I'll just select this edge and then give a bevel edge, and then I'll just create a segment out here, and then insert just to have some correctness, and then I'll just extrude it inside slightly. So this is basically the initial structure of that, and then I'll have some shapes out here like that. So I'll just select this and then tap it slightly above, just like that. Select this face, or maybe I'll just select this and then move it further above, extrude it below. I'll just reduce the thickness of this too much, and then thickness can be only this much. That would be that will be enough. Select this, and then again one more extrude I'm giving, and then I'll select this edge and then grab it slightly down. Now I'm just adjusting the positions of this by clicking on the vertices, and then in the extreme mode I'll select all the vertices, G and Y, and slightly adjusting and this edge as well, and then I'm giving a bevel edge just to shape it out. I'll just have an extrude along the normals, and then I just give an insert for this as well. Slightly scale it in Y direction just to make sure that it is evenly proportional, and then I just give an insert extrude to that by clicking and dragging it inside, just like that. So this is basically the sopanam for me. In this direction I have 2 clicks, and then in this direction as well I have 2, and then I'll just all these and then move it in X direction slightly to this side. Here also alt click on the edge, grab it in this direction, and what I do is like select all these faces, these 2 faces, extrude by -30. Again this one also extrude by -30. This is basically the steps. I'll have some profiling as well. I select all these 3, this one, extrude it by -3. Okay, so now the steps are ready. Now I'll just have the windows and the gable structure. Now we will do the windows. So coming to the windows, what to do is like we'll just add a plane here. By add a plane, grab it to position, and then rotate in X direction by 90 centimeters or 90 degree. Just select this face and then give an insert by 6 centimeters, and then I'm just clicking on P to separate this face. Divide this face as well as this face. So Control R, and then 2 divisions, maybe 3 divisions. So we have the windows in 3 divisions. Same way here also, 2. So that is the 3 divisions. Now just select this face, this edges, and scale it in X0, and then you have we just make the segments as 2, maybe 1, and then make this 6 centimeters, maybe 3 centimeters. Go to 3 and select these faces, remove it, remove faces, select these faces as well, remove faces, these 2 faces, click on F, and then this front face, and then click on F. So now you have the window structure basic ready. Now what you have to do right now is like I have to create the window shutters. So I have this plane here, just select this and grab it to this position, and then give an insert face, insert by 7.5 centimeters, and then click on P, select this, Control R, select this face and this face, G in Z direction, slightly down, and then give bevel edges by 3.25, that makes it 7.5, and then select all the faces, extrude by 3, and then select these edges and budget these faces as well. And so this is the basic structure of window shutter. I'll just move this one, select, and next remove, just select all these, grab it in Z direction. Now what you do is, like, after moving this, just select this and then give an extrude by 1 centimeter. So you have the glass ready. Now we'll have some shutter kind of design out here. In order to do that, I'm just clicking here, the cursor, and then I'm adding a box, a cube of 2 centimeters. Okay, and then I'm just grabbing it to the position. And then selecting this edge G in Y direction, and selecting this face in Z slightly, and moving this edge slightly down. So this is basically the shape of that profile. G in X direction. So this is basically the shutter design. And Alt D in Z, just move it, and then Shift R. I'll have it here, Alt D Z, and then I'll have it here as well. So that's the window, the basic window structure. So I'm just placing only one window right now. That's because I'm going to make an instance of this and keeping it here. Now I'll do the corners of this roofing structure. So corner profiling is done by selecting this, and I'm just taking a copy of this faces. I'm just creating a copy of that, and then escape P to separate it. Okay, just move it for the top. Select this and then go to it. Select all the edges, just like this. And now what to do is, like, give a bevel for that, bevel edges up to here, and now you have an option called 15 centimeters. I'm giving 2 segments. And now you can see that you have these point edges out here. Just select those edges alone, and then what you do is, very slightly, okay, this becomes the profile now, and remove all the other faces which is not required. So just select those, delete faces. So now you have the profiles, the corner profiles ready. So what to do now is, like, go to the face mode and then click on A to select everything, and then extrude by in Z direction by around 3 centimeters. All the edge profiles ready right now. Now what I'll do is, like, I'll just create the gable profile now. So I have to have a traditional design inside. So in order to do that, I'm just adding a single vertex here, adding a single vertex. I'm just moving it to the position. Go to the edit mode and start extruding. Extrude in Z direction, and click here, Y direction, and snap it so you have a triangle inside. F fill that profile. So you have a triangle inside now filled. Now I have to create a design inside, so I'll just select and place a cube out here, which is 5 centimeter by 5 centimeter. So I'll just save it, give a plus symbol here, and then an increment of the save will be coming here. Save now. So now we'll start texturing. So first I'll do a texture for the window. So I'll just go into this, come to the look dev mode, and then start assigning materials. So I have some wooden materials, so I'll just go and select all those. I'm selecting this material, I'm just selecting this and dragging it to this position, and then I'm just assigning it. Just reducing the specular, I'm just adjusting this. So you can see that it has been assigned to the whole thing. Hide everything else, and then I'll just go to the face and then shift Control L to select all these and hide it. Now we have only these. What I'll do is, like, I'll just select this, Control L, and then hide that as well. So select all these horizontals by selecting all these like this. Come to the X-ray mode and select so that you have the back faces as well. You have selected all these faces, select, and then give a smart UV project. So you have all these in alignment. You can see those. Select everything, just give a small scaling. It's in the right direction now. It's looking fine. Now select all these verticals. All these verticals, and then again give a UV unwrap, smart UV project. Have that also in direction. Scale it slightly. Have the directions right now. Now just come to this and Alt H for that. That is one. Select this face, Control L, and then assign a new material to that. Give new material and then assign glass material. So I have to do that. Come here and glass BSDF and then assign. So roughness to 0 And coming to the shading mode, we'll just give a transparent shader as well. Here, move this and make shader, and then an input personal IOR into FAC, and then this one to this one. So now it's transparent. So you have the window shutter ready. Now coming to layout, just Alt H to have all the windows. You can see that since all these are instances, you have given materials to all these. Now select this and Shift H, select all the horizontals. In order to do that, just go to the X-ray mode, select all the horizontals here also, and then assign the material, this wooden material. So I'm just giving the name as wood, and then just click UV and then Smart UV project, and then UV, select everything, scale it to have some scaling, select all these, right click and then give Smart UV project once again, and then select everything, scale it. So you have that also ready. Now unhide everything. So you have all the windows ready. Now we have to add the door out here. And before that, I'll just give the material for this one. So I'm going to give a laterite finish for this. In order to do that, I'm just selecting and then assign another new material, and this would be laterite. Laterite stone. I'll just drag it here, and then I'll apply this to this base material, reduce the thickness, and then I'm adding a normal map. So again I Shift D, and then going into this, I'll just select the map for that, and then click OK. Shift A to give a bump map, add this to the height and this to the normals. So just have to have the preview. This is how it looks. So just apply all these to the by giving a sign, and then Smart UV project. Rotate 90 degree and scale it for the to have the laterite stone material ready. See how it looks. Scale it further, just to have and then reduce the, coming to the shading mode, reduce the strength to see that it's not too much. Okay, it looks fine. So the laterite finish I've given already. Now coming to this part, I have to just select the roof structures. So I'm just giving the base as a new material, and then applying a new material to this as terracotta roofing. Okay, I'll go for this roof. Just select that and then drag it here and then into the base color. Just see what can be done to this. So just select this face, give an unwrap, and then what to do next is like go to UV mapping, select the whole thing, rotate by 90 degree, and then start scaling. Okay, this would be enough. Looks nice. Onto this face, start UV unwrap, select the whole thing, rotate by 90 degree, scale it, just to match with the other one. Okay. Now we'll do the corner part of this. So I'll do one first. So I'll just select this and then I'll give a material, the same roof material, and then what I do is like I'll just select all these faces and then give an unwrap. This time what I'm going to do is like I'll just do project from view that gives this direction, and then I'll just and then scale in X direction and then 0, so that gives this feel, and then scale it in whichever size you want. Adjust it so that it is not having any issues. Somewhat nice. Same thing you do for this as well. Okay, so now you can see that this is ready. Now I'll give the rest of the materials. Go to this, I'm just hiding everything else. Just this, and then I'm giving that wood material. So wood, and then just go into this, and then select all what is horizontal. Project from view, and then coming to UV, and then selecting the whole thing and then rotating it by 90 degree. You can see how it is, and then scale it to have a good detailing, and then select this, select all that is vertical, and then give us project from view for that, and then scale it. That looks fine for that. So we have done with that as well. So all sides we have given the wooden material. Now coming to the pillars, that was also wood. Here also I'm going to give wood. So now I need to have some latex stone on this. I'll select these two and Control L and then apply materials to this as well. Now here I'll give stone material on all these, whatever is left right now. So I'll just select this, this and this. Maybe I'll just select this, add a new material, come to shading. So I'll just select that, click here, and then I'll just apply that stone material. So now in order to have this this one to have the materials in the proper way, I'll just select this one and then select all the faces and then give a project from view for this, and then come to UV editing and then select the whole thing and then just see how it is. Just scale it in X direction. Okay, and that's done. Now we'll have the shutter, the door, the main door. So I'll just select that and then I'll click on Shift H just to select only this part, and then I'll just add a plane here. Just go to the object mode, layout, object mode, and then add a plane, rotate in X direction 90 degree. Just grab it and then make it 210 in this position. Now just go to the face and then click on insert by 8 centimeters and then click on P to separate this. Just select this and then extrude by 8 centimeters again. Select this face. Now you have to have a thickness for that, so I'm just selecting this face, extrude by around 3 centimeters. Now I'm just selecting the front face, switching off the X-ray mode, setting the front face, insert by 7 point maybe 9 centimeters or 10 centimeters. You have the frame for the door, and then I'm just dividing this by 1 like this, and then I'm just splitting this by Bevel Edges. I just need 1 segment and 5, so that this becomes 10 centimeter. Becomes like this. Again I'm just dividing this by here, and then we'll move it slightly down and then scale in wide Z direction 0 to make it straight, and then right click, Bevel Edges by 5 centimeters. Now we have 4 segments here, so just select these faces and then give an extrude inside -2, and then again one more insert. This is done individually, and then I'm just grabbing it in Y direction, slightly outside in Y direction, just like that, and a slight extrude, just like that. Fine. Now the door is ready. Just select the door, and then I'm giving a material as wood. So come to that and wood. Select all the faces. We'll do kind of select all these. Select all these. This. Okay. And then right click, and then we project from view, and then come into this, select all these, rotate 90 degree, and then scale, rotate 90 degree, and then scale it to have some feel. Select all the other, that is all verticals. Select the face, and then here also I'll do a project from face, project from view, and select everything, scale it, select all these, click, and then smart UV project, click OK, select everything, and then scale it. That's how it is. Now select these two, and then Ctrl J to join together, G in Y direction, and then slightly move it inside, Alt H. So you have all these. Now I'll have a terracotta finish floor tile for this. Select this, and then right click. I'm just adding a new material for that, just slightly here, and it'll be like this. And then I'm just adding a new material shader. Okay, I'll just give this terracotta tile some, come here, and then I'm just giving base color to that. Smart UV project, click OK, and then start editing to a point where it is getting merged. Somewhere. So you have the terracotta also ready. I'll just give the profile and finish off this part. So to give the profile, I have to give a profile first. So come to the top portion, and then I have to create a profile first. So to do that, I'll just click on add. I'll do this, and then I'll just add a single vertex and start extruding. I'm just putting it as in X direction, E in Y direction, E again in X direction, E again Y direction, and then E in this direction, E in X direction, E in Y direction, E in X direction, E in Y direction, and then E in X direction, and then E to finish it off. Just move the whole thing to this position, so that the origin point is here. Now save it. What you need next is that we need a profile going around this. So I'm just hiding all these, and then only the plan. Okay, now I'll just add a single vertex. Okay, now I'm there. I'm just grabbing it to the position, extruding it. This time I'm going around the whole plan. I have everything. I'm selecting everything. I'm going to the edges and then I'm extruding it by say 90 centimeters in X direction, and then I'm just applying a Solidify modifier and I'm giving a 60 centimeters out here. I have to make sure that it is even thickness and apply it. Now what I have to do is like I have to just select the edges outside here. I've selected all the edges outside by clicking on Alt and click. So selected, and then I'm just giving a P. Now that edge is separate. I'll just remove this so I have an edge here. So now Alt Edge. Before that, right click, set origin to geometry. Come to the object mode, Alt Edge. Everything is on. I have a profile here. Select that, right click, object, and then convert into curve from projection. Select this, and then that also convert to curve from from mesh. And now select this, go to the curves and then geometry, and then pick this object. You have the profile ready. So profiling is very easy in this. Now just grab it to the top of this, set, and you have the profile ready at the edges. Just have to give a material. Select this and then give a material for that as wood. I'm just going into this, select everything. Before that I have to convert this object into a mesh. Select the whole thing. I'm just putting it in the view and then giving it project from view. Scale in Y. Rotate so that you have the right direction. And this is how it looks. Just save it. Now I'll give the interiors for this. I'll be applying some images just to have a look of interiors inside. So I'm just hiding this window, and then I'll have a plane here. Rotate in X direction 90 degree. I'll just move it, scale it further, and then I'll apply a new material. I'm just giving it as interior. Okay, and then I'm just reducing, I'm just making this as emission. So this is an emissive material now. This from here to here, and then I'm just dragging it to the color. So you can see that it is there inside now. Maybe I'll do one thing. I'll rotate at an 45 degree like this, and then just grab it, scale in X. So when you look at it, you can have the feel of this. A similar thing I'm keeping it here also. So Alt D I'm giving, and I'm just moving it in Y direction, and then G in X direction. G, Y. So now the both are ready. I'll just click Alt H, save it. I'll just give only 0.2 for that. Save it. So this is basically the structure of this elevation. So coming to doing the landscaping of this resort, what I'm going to do is like I'm just taking a new file for Blender, and then delete the default things, and then I'm just adding a new plane to this. So I'm adding a plane. I'm just putting it as some 10,000 centimeters by 1000 centimeters. So this is the plane. Actually, in order to handle the large files, we have to link whatever the other files are. Like I'm just going to link the resort into this, and the trees as well into the main file, which is having the landscape. So that's how we handle the large file in Blender. So in order to do that, I'm just going to link our resort to this. So I'll just go to the files and just import this collection which I've created, the resort into this. So now we have the resort here. So if you go to the look down mode, you can see that the resort is inside here. So I'll just grab this by -45. We have the resort inside here. We should have some pathway, and we'll have more number of resorts in this project. So what I'm going to do is, like, I'll just Alt D to have an instance of the resort and move it in X direction. We'll have 3 resorts in a row. So I'll just click and do Shift R for that. We'll have 2 at the back as well. So Alt D, and then I'm just going to move it at the back by clicking Y, and then I'll have it like this. So now we have around 5 resorts. I'm just putting a camera in this layout like this. Setting the camera like this, we just add a camera into the scene, and then what to do is, like, just zoom out a bit, and then click on Control Alt 0. Now that adds a camera. And now coming to N, and then into view, and then lock the camera, and then click on Control, and then press the center button and drag, so that you can have the camera view ready. So this is how I'm just going to have the camera. Now I'll add some, first I'll save this as landscape, and now I'll just import some of the plants into this and trees into this, and then I'll have the basic layout of the resort landscape. So in order to do that, I'm just making some layouts for this. So I'll add a box into this first. So in order to do that, we'll add a cube, and then just grab it in Y direction and keep it here, and then I'll just go to the items in this, and then I'll just make the dimensions into 120 by 120 by, say, 5 centimeters. So, and then I'll just move it in Z direction by -45. So that is there on top of this. So I'll have to make this by 30. So this is basically a box GY. I'll make it 150 by 45 just to have it in view. GX, and then I'll just move it here. So this is the pathway which I'm creating to get into the resort. G in Y direction, and then I'll just start duplicating this. Alt D in Y direction, I'll just keep it, and then Shift R to repeat the same thing. I'll just have one, or Shift D, and then move it in Y direction and keep it here. I'll make this also 150 to make it a square. G in Y direction, move it slightly. I'll just give a material for this as well as this. So I'll give a material for this. In order to do that, I'll just go into materials. So since this is a resort, I don't want it to be real grass, so I'll just have a mix. So in order to do that, I'll just select this, and then I'll go into the materials tab, give a new material, and then add a new material into this. I'll take this, I'll just drag it here and give it as a base color, and then I'll just reduce the specular, and then I'll add other maps as well. So we have a ground normal map, which I'll add as the normal to this. So shift A and then vector, and then I'll add this to the normals strength, and then I'll just add into the color and make this as non-color. We'll link this to the normal. Now we'll have one more map, that is the roughness map. So I'll just take that as well, and I'll just link this roughness to the roughness of the ground. Now we'll do a UV mapping also for this. So in order to do that, I'll just select this, and then I'll go into then in the UV editing map, I'll just select this, and then I'll give select and then give a smart UV project. Click OK, and then select the whole thing, and then maybe like this, and GX direction, just move it, and select everything. Just start giving a scale for this. So you can see that it has been scaled to an extent where it is visible properly, like this. Okay, and then I'll just add some more the pathways. So I'll just add a texture to this now, and then I'll move forward. So to give a texture for this, I'm going into a new texture, and then I'm just going into the shading mode. This one we'll add, so I'll just add that to here, and then I'll attach that to the base color. I don't want this much lighter one, so I'll just select this, and then I'll add a color ramp to that. A color ramp, and then reduce the white. And I think in UV editing texture, just adjust it, grab it slightly into this, scale it in X, scale it in Y, grab it in Y direction, scale it a bit more to just have a rough feel for that. Okay, now it looks fine. It looks as if it has been in this place. So I have it, and then I'll just select this as well, and then add the same thing, same material. That looks fine even without that. I'll just add some more. Shift Alt D, and then in X direction, rotate it in Z direction 90, grab it to this position, in Y direction, grab it in X direction, grab it in Y slightly, grab it in X. Okay, now Alt D, and then in X direction I move it, and then I have a repeat for that. Okay, so the layout is ready now. We have more, but I'm just focusing on this camera angle out here, just like this. So I'll just go into the layout and adjust it slightly more, because I just like to see a little more of this view, and then lock camera once again. Just adjust it to just to make sure that you see the whole thing. Okay, now just give a save. Now the basic layout is ready. What you have to do now is add one HDRI map into this. So in order to do that, go to the shading mode, and then come to the world, and I just didn't add it as a texture which is environment texture. So I'm adding an environment texture, adding it like this, and then you can see a pink color. When we open an HDRI into this, that will be solved. So just add the HDRI map and then click open image. Yeah, now it has come. So in order to adjust the sky, we have to have click on Control T. You have the mapping node as well as the texture coordinate, and we can adjust this by rotating it and get the right angle you want. So I'm just going to have this because I don't want any buildings coming in between. So this is the way it has to be. And now there is something lacking. I need a light inside this, so I'll add a light, a sunlight, and then I just move it, grab it, and then I'll adjust it in such a way that the shadows are falling just like that. Okay, now what you have to do is like you have to add some trees and plants to this, and then we'll finish off and then do a render. Some links of trees to this, so I'm just going into the trees which I've created before. Tree centered, and then tree collection, and I'm adding one of the trees into this. Okay, I have one tree here. I'll just move it forward in Y direction. I have a tree there, G in Y, X direction slightly. So coming to the camera, you can see that there's a good tree out here. I'll add 3 or 4 trees more into this so that it looks a little more neat. What is there? I need some rocks here, so I'll just create the rocks. I'll add UV sphere maybe, and then I'll just G in Y direction, G in X direction. I'll move it here and just scale it a bit. Okay, after adding the sphere, I'll just do one thing. I'll just go into this proportional editing on, and then go to the edit mode and then start selecting one of these, and then G, you can see if I put this on and start moving, you can see that there can be some deformations happening. So I'll just move it like this with some deformations. So this is one of the easiest methods in Blender to just deform things. Just select that G, and if you want it like that, just select this G, select another, take an Alt D and scale it further, grab it, and we'll have one more. Just like that, scale it a bit. So those are the rocks. I'll have a copy of that somewhere here also, somewhere in between. Just select that and then give a material. So I'll just go to the materials once again, go to the textures. Let me check if I have a rock. Yeah, I have some rocks here. So I'll just select this one and put material in that. Sorry, I'll just take the shading. Come to the shading, and then come to the shading, I'll just select that material and give it. I'm just reducing the specular of that. Adding the same thing the roughness, shift T, and then to the roughness as well. I'll make it non-color data. Also I'll give the same thing and normal map, bump map. So I'll just have shift A, and then in vector we have the bump. I'm just giving this bump into this height and reduce the strength. We'll do one more thing. We'll just have a copy of these rocks as well in somewhere in this position. So Alt T, and in X direction just move it, and G Y in this direction, and then rotate it, and Z slightly, and then have one copy. Maybe I'll remove this copy. Looks fine. So just save it and then just go to the camera view. I think it looks fine. Now I have to adjust the brightness of the sky by around, I'll make it 7 for the time being. Let me see how it is. And also in shading, if you just see, just select the world map and then adjust the strength by around 3. I think now it looks fine. I'll add one more tree, one more plant out here. Coming here, I'll just move into cycles. I've made some I'm just changing something here. I'm just going to do a test render, so I'm just putting it as 128. The total maximum bounces I'm giving only 2. Here also I'm just giving it as 4. Transmission transparency we don't have any, so I'm just making it as 4. We have, but that's enough. And any other things, yeah, in here I'm just putting it as full HD here, and then for saving it I'm just making it as JPG, and then full 100%. And then coming to this the context layer, coming down we have to tick this denoising so that it becomes a neat image. So that's what it is. And then I'm just going into, I have given the tiles as 64 by 64 for the time being, and then I'm just saving it. Now I'm just doing it as GPU, but still I'm keeping it as 64 for just like that. Now I'll just save it and then give F12. So now it's rendering. If I made it into cycles, it takes a little bit when compared to EV. Actually this takes a little more time. Cycles gives a more realistic output when compared to EV, but it's take more time to render. Okay, now the rendering is over. It looks nice, but I think I need a little more detailing out in these areas. We'll have some what do you call, little more, 1 or 2 plants out here as well to have more detailing. And then also one thing is missing is like here it is too dark, so I'll give one light in the sit out area of the results. I'll add 1 or 2 ferns in between these. I'll add the lights. Not to add the lights, I'm just opening this, because if I open that, it's easier to add, because if I add in one, it will be added in others as well. So I'll add a light here. In the resort, I'll add a light. I'll just keep the cursor here and add a light, an area light G in Y direction, and then scale it make it a warm color and maybe a 30 watt and increase the size. I think I'll finish off this tutorial by doing the final render and take the output. So it's rendering now. You can see the feel of it. I'm not going much detail into what you call the feel of puddles or rain effect or any cloudy effects. I'll be doing a different tutorial for that. For the time being, I'm just stopping it here with this tutorial. This is the day feel without any further effect, but still I think this was very helpful for you. I have been using some of the modeling techniques in this tutorial. I was more concentrating on the modeling part. I've not gone into detailed texturing like giving grass and stuffs like that, but still I think this is having a good feel, and I think you can have a realistic feel for the architectural visualization in Blender 2.8 to a great extent. So even with this basic texturing and lighting, I think you get a very good feel for this. Now I'll not be using some special techniques in this, but still you can see that it is having a good output. If I'm using some more techniques, like if I'm giving some rain puddles and if I'm giving some fog effect to this, I think this would have become a little more realistic. But in this tutorial I'm not going for that, but maybe in the later time I may be using the same file to create a file that is having a kind of more realistic feel with kind of rain puddles below and as well as some realistic grass output to get a little more jungle feel, and then I'll be giving some fog to this and stuffs like that. So I'll be going into more detailed tutorial later on. Currently I'm stopping with this feel. I think this is having some kind of a realistic feel to this, and this is very appealing. So I think you can use this tutorial to make some realistic architectural projects and show it to your clients to get their approvals to a great extent. So try using these tutorials and make use of it to the fullest. All the best.